Designing courses. The principle of designing courses for a distance learning program are the same as those which are used in face-to-face teaching. The materials also which are used for distance learning are almost the same as those which are used in traditional classes. For example, setting objectives, the needs analysis, then the material development, and so on. However, in the distance learning context, there are some additional things which have to be kept in mind. For example, this screenshot shows what should be things which should be kept in mind while designing courses for a distance learning program. The course designers need to ask themselves, can the learners do this activity on their own? Are there enough examples which are given? Are the rubrics clear? What response am I expecting? Are there other possible answers? Is there an answer key? Are the answers in the key explained in any way? Is there a glossary, for example, explaining terminology? How will I manage my relationship with the learner whom I never meet? So when you keep these questions in mind, then you will be able to design better materials, and these questions are especially useful when using commercially available courses. For example, in stage 1, while using commercially available courses and textbooks, the first stage is when you check the availability of the workbook or the website which you are aiming to use in the class. Then see whether you can combine any supplementary material with it or some additional practice activities to go along with the basic textbook. Then you need to ensure that your students have their own copy of that particular textbook and they have access to that website. Then both of these need to have answers and explanations in them. Stage 2 would be to check learner's book and asking whether the activities need to be supported by the teacher or peers. How can they be adapted, and what about briefing the learners about them? And what should be deleted from these course books or the commercially available textbooks, and what should be included, and whether any additional or supplementary material needs to be added to it. How will the peers meet up, whether there should be a regular meeting between the peers, and how will the learners meet up with the teacher. So when we are talking about teaching business English in a distance learning program, then we need to focus on how to develop the language skills of our learners, and also to as well as developing the content of the specialist courses which we are teaching. The language skills which we would be teaching would be basically be writing, but besides this, speaking and listening skills are also some of the areas which need to be focused on, because these are the areas which research shows are the areas which are difficult to teach in a distance learning program. Another option is blended learning in this regard, because distance education has got its strengths and weaknesses, and it cannot replace face-to-face teaching, but we can supplement it in some regards by designing a course which is based upon blended learning. It can be a most effective way of teaching business English, because it sort of combines together traditional face-to-face interaction between teachers and learners and the distance learning aspects. So as in F2F traditional methods of teaching, there can be occasional meetings and pre-planned workshops with the learners.